and they're going to take it from here.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Let's see if this works. All right. So, first of all, Al doesn't really want to be on photos, and I think it's out of privacy and security concern, which is kind of funny because it's exactly what we're going to be talking about. So, he doesn't want to be in photos, but apparently this industry still thinks it's perfectly okay for your customers to go see their phones with all the personal information, and the next renter, the next sharer, the next renter, the next sharer comes in there, and all this stuff is in there. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And look, this is not an ethical issue. I mean, it is an ethical issue, but it's really a financial issue for this entire industry. And I think you need to come to grasp with the fact that car rental and car sharing will have to deal with this issue this year. So let me tell you a story. Earlier this year, a surgeon in Chicago was having lunch with his family. And he was out there, he had lunch, he's outside waiting for his car to valet, and his brother, who's broke because he doesn't have a job and doesn't seem to be the old one, asked him for a few $1,000s to get through the month. So the doctor said, okay, that's fine, I got the money, it's at home, just do me a favor. On Wednesday, please come to my birthday party, we're all going out to my favorite restaurant. This is what happened.
Wednesday, 8 o'clock, we'll find them.
And then we'll get a restaurant.
All right, so fortunately, this is fiction, right? This is just going to make it the 1974 Charles Bronson movie. Some of us probably remember that original movie, which did not have anything about car and technology back then, but both movies share this next scene because it's the turning point of the story. It's when the thieves arrive at the home and the wife is killed and the daughter is abused. And yes, this is fiction, but then you start to think, how many people have seen this? How many millions of people have seen this in the world? And do script writers write this stuff because they come up with it, or actually it's based on real fears of the common population? And so how crazy is it that tomorrow morning we can wake up and there's an article on the front page of the newspaper that says something really bad happened to one of your customers because they rented your car, they shared your car, and then what happens? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So what I'm really going to be doing is move away from the world of fiction for a second, okay? Let's be grounded in reality, because fortunately I am a facts and data kind of guy. So I'm going to paint a factual, independently verifiable, publicly verifiable picture of what is the current situation today in the industry. And it's really. Now, when I talk to people about this, they tell me, oh my gosh, we have unleashed this giant monster, and what the hell are we going to be talking about? It's too hard, it's too this, it's too that. And I don't believe in unsolvable problems. Matter of fact, I hear 3 objections constantly, and I'm going to kill them one by one on stage. None of this stuff is real. All of these fears are myths. And finally, I'm going to give you 3 tips. I'm going to give you homework, really, what you need to do when you come back from this conference. Today, this situation, dark piece of hole. I think you can turn it to. It really depends on you. And the difference between doing certain things with the others is the difference between billions of dollars of value created or billions of dollars of value destroyed for the industry. So, okay, let's start here. As you heard, I lead the Privacy and Cybersecurity Group at IRA. IRA stands for International Automotive Remarketing Alliance. You can go www.ira.biz to learn more about it. But we started working about a year ago. Last summer, in collaboration with a number of auctions in the United States and in Canada, we pulled 400 cars out of the lanes. And then we looked. They said, okay, what can we find? It turns out that the majority of the cars that were going through a physical auction still had the personal information of the driver or the owner of the previous vehicle. More than half. Okay? So fast forward, March was the CAR conference, the Conference of Auto Remarketing. So a month before, we did a survey among the members of IRA. Now, these are not common people, right? These are experts in remarketing. They work for automakers, captives, large banks, small auto lenders, fleet companies. There's some rental car companies that belong to it, auto auctions, etc., etc. These are people who actually know the business of buying and selling cars. Okay? And so we asked them two questions. Well, we asked many, but these are random. One was, what do you think is going to happen in the next year when it comes to risk and exposure and regulation for cybersecurity in general? Okay? 70% basically said, oops, it's going to increase. When you ask them specifically about the issue of personal data left in the infotainment system, almost 80% said this is something we're going to have to deal with this year. This year. So, okay, so that's the general thing. So this is where the story becomes a little bit, the plot thickens, that's what they say, right? So I'll share a little bit of a hobby that I have. I travel a lot, I rent a lot of cars, probably some from many of you. And when I do, if I see a sign that says, you can rent any car you want, what I really read is, oh gosh, I guess you guys don't mind if I sit in 5, 10, 15 cars, go through the infotainment system, and then I decide which one I want. Or if the sign is not there, it's the same, right? I'll stop in 5, 10, 15 cars until I pick the one you actually kindly assigned to. So, as I've done this over the last year, over and over and over again, can anybody take a wild guess on how many times I've been stopped? By anybody? Security, employees? Thank you. 0! Okay, let's double down. I actually enjoy even more going to your retail lots or your wholesale lots. Wholesale lots are great because cars open, keys are in there, so I can go through 100 plus cars in a day if I want to, right? So, how many times do you think I've been stopped there?
0.
Well, actually 2, because see, they're selling cars, so good news is that 2 salespeople came to me and said, gosh, you look at a lot of cars, which one do you want? We'll pick the one you want. But of course, no question asked on what actually I was doing there, right? So, prayer. Well, so let's ask another question. How do you think your cars fare versus the average? The average in this we said is 50%. Can we do a show of hands? Who thinks it's 50% of the cars have personal information in it? One person. Who thinks it's 75%? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. Who thinks it's almost 100%? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, you guys win. It is almost 100%. Matter of fact, I've personally gone through at least 600 cars, just by myself. And I can count on less than 2 hands, the cars didn't have any personal information. You know why? What they had in common? Can anybody guess? I'm sorry? Nope. They didn't have Bluetooth and they didn't have nav. So you couldn't store the information. Let me say this another way. Every single car I've been through that had either Bluetooth or nav had some sort of personal information in it. Every single one. Okay, so now we got the FBI on stage, so I'm going to put them on the spot, right? So let's suppose actually I'm not that crazy, and then tomorrow you could have an article, right? And by the way, it doesn't need to be something horrific like in the, you know, the killing of the movie that I picked on. But, you know, this can be, Agent Guardian, I'm sure, would be delighted to tell you what people with very little moral compass and access to information in the cars, where you live, where you've been, who you called, what did you text, what's in your contact books, which by the way, many people have their bank accounts, their PINs, and passwords, all this kind of stuff, right? So let's suppose I'm not crazy and there's an article tomorrow, right? So what do you think regulators will do? Well, the FBI told you more than 2 years ago cars can be hacked. And the FTC was super specific, right? It said, oh, there's an issue with Bluetooth and infotainment systems. So that's 2 years ago. So sure, they could slap you on the hand, but I think it's more reasonable to expect that regulators will regulate. Typically comes with fines too. Right? How about journalists? Journalists love businesses, don't they? They typically like consumers more. So if you go to www.privacy4cars.com, it's privacy number 4 cars, just one word. And you scroll all the way at the bottom. There's a number of resources available to you. You can read all these articles and plenty more. And just read. I mean, there's no month that goes by with at least 2 or 3 articles on the topic. Or articles about hackers that are getting into cars and extracting personal information. Okay? So, and then it comes to advocates, right? Because advocates are the one that then will feed the monster with the information. And what do they ask? Well, recommendation 1, we'd like you to give clear instructions to your rentals and shares on how to delete the information. That doesn't happen. Number 2, we'd like you to delete the data after every rental and every sharing. That doesn't happen. Number three, we'd like you to have a policy specific to infotainment system. I don't think that has happened either. That's just a legal document. And if somebody has one, I'd love to see one because I haven't seen one yet. So I love always to learn new things. All right, so let's be fair, okay? Because this is not a car rental and a car sharing problem. This is an automotive industry problem overall. So I used to work at NBC Universal. I have a friend of mine that knows what I do in my spare time. And he told me, oh my gosh, you gotta watch The Good Girls episode 3. Right, okay. So I go to Hulu and I look at the episode. Well, it turns out, The Good Girls, not so good. In this episode, they go to a dealer, they steal a car, they go to Canada, they smuggle some stuff across the border, and on the way back, they realize that their car has been reported stolen. And this is what happens.
Hold up. You synced your phone?
So, I mean, wanted my music for the road trip.
So, it has your name and all of your contacts in a car that was reported stolen.
Okay, so we just unsync it. How do I do that?
You can.
Oh, of course you can. Dan borrowed my minivan like once and is still asking if I want to connect to his pocket rocket. Look, there, it's wiped. Go ahead, restart the car. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, I'm thinking we may just have to reboot the whole thing.
What are you
Like the actual hard drive of the actual car.
What are you
I don't know, I'm just saying the words that I've heard before.
What now?
But we have to torch it.
Unfortunately, they don't burn down the car, you just push it into a lake, which, by the way, I do not recommend to anyone. It's not a good way to get rid of your fleet. What I find funny, if it really wasn't, is that a critic wrote, Bluetooth truly is the STD of technology. And I'm really starting to wonder, do we truly have a privacy herpes case in our cars? Or it's more like a bad case of the cold, we just need to do something about it. We just need to take some medicine. I think it's the latter. So when I talk to people, these are the three things I typically hear. First thing is, oh gosh, Andrea, well, interesting data, don't you worry. Legal is on it. We'll get back to it. And this is where I start to take issue. Because see, I used to be at McKinsey for many years, and I struggle with this being an issue that becomes legal. Because in my mind, this issue belongs to the CEO and the board of directors. Let me tell you why. You see those companies, FCA, when the Jeep was hacked, they were fined $100 million. They lost $400 million in the market in a week. And if you ask them, they say they lost more than $1 billion since then, just for that. It was a weekend project for 2 analysts. Okay? Equifax, everybody knows the story. Everybody knows clearly the story of Volkswagen, right? What happens when you kind of say you're going to give me something actually you don't. Facebook, I think, is super interesting. I think everybody has enjoyed seeing Zuckerberg being grilled on Congress. But what is interesting is that actually they've never been hacked. This is not a hack. They just have a crummy policy about privacy. Okay? So this is why I'm saying this is not a legal issue and it's a board issue. Because if I take the smallest number in there and I chop it in half, and I say these may cause a bad outcome because of 5% drop in equity, for a company like, not going to pick on anybody, but Amy's budget group, $3.7 billion market cap, that's a $200 million problem. And this is just the soft stuff of the market, right? Now, Europe next month is running out GDPR. Does anybody know what that is? General Data Protection Regulation, right? So basically it says you need to do a lot of things for privacy. If you don't, we can slap you 4% of global revenues as a fee. Okay, that's what the number is for some of the players in millions of dollars. But think about, even if you have a small operator, 4%, this is a small margin business. 4% may be the difference between making the year and being bankrupt. It's a big deal. All right, so this is my favorite. It's too hard. These are real photos that we took at the auctions, by the way, right? Every car is different, and so it's impossible to do. I was actually on a call with Accra 2 weeks ago, and talking about this issue, people were said impossible 3 times in 10 minutes. And that's the same thing I heard the IRA, by the way, right? So this is not new, and I hate impossible. And so we decided to fix it ourselves. So I spent the last year mapping thousands of cars. All the instructions for every infotainment system out there, no, not every single one, as you can imagine, it's like going in the ocean, but a lot of them. And we mapped them, and you can download an app, and I wanted to show it to you, but probably we can't work with technology in here, but you can come by the booth. But basically, this is what it does. You can scan your VIN, or you can scan your rental agreement. It detects what car it is. Then it shows you step-by-step instructions. Press this, turn that, go down, blah, 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 done. And at the end, it just asks you, did your work rate did it? And if you say, yes, it did, then we're logging it VIN as a successful delete, which creates a compliance record, which meets GDPR. So that's what we've done. So it's not an operational issue anymore. It's not a legal issue. Here's my favorite. Well, it's a cost issue. We run a slow margin business, and it's really hard to make money. And I got two issues with that. The first one is that we have the app now is used by a few auto auctions, and they told us the time to clean a car has gone from fumbling around and trying for 22 minutes in average down to a silence of 2 to 3 minutes per car. So we're already taking 80 to 90% of the time. But here's the best part. Why I like to rent cars is because when I go there, hopefully somebody on the other side is smiling and is telling me to buy things I actually really don't need, and I do. Okay? You guys are excellent at selling me full tanks of gas and whatever other gadget you guys have, right? So why not privacy? Why it's not an ad? There's really a demand for it. You've seen the Facebook witnessing. There's really a demand for it. You could monetize it. This does two things for you. One is that every time somebody comes to the counter, you have that opportunity to have a conversation about your car is storing the data, are you aware of it, we'd like to sell you a solution. Right? So now you've done two things. You have given fair notice, which is what advocates are asking you to do, and you're providing a solution, which is what the advocates are asking you to do. If people don't want to do it, well, you give them fair notice. Privacy is not about not collecting any data. Privacy is about telling people, this is the data that we'll collect, this is what we're going to be doing with it, and do we have your permission to do whatever it is you want to do, and if you don't like it, what do you want us to do about it? So privacy is not a monster. Privacy is a revenue opportunity. You just need to think about it differently. It's not a hurdle, it's an opportunity. So look, here's the homework I want to give you. Number one, go home after enjoying Vegas. I hope you have a successful stay here. But pick up the phone and call the CEO. And tell them, this is what I heard, this is why it matters. And I'm more than happy to be in touch with them. I don't want to sell them anything. I have not created a business plan for this privacy4cars thing. I just thought there was a need, and it was unfair to not give a solution to people, and I hated the word impossible. That's all I did. So I don't want to sell you stuff, I just want to help. The CEO hopefully will involve yes legal, yes operations, hopefully will involve PR and IR. And the reason why I'm saying this is because when companies get pummeled in the market, it's typically because they disappoint their customers. And this gets into point number two. When Equifax was breached, and they finally told people, within 2 hours they had a $30 billion class action lawsuit. $30 billion. I know a lot of lawyers. I don't know anyone who can write a brief for $30 billion in 2 hours. What do you think happened? They had filed, right? Lawyers are smart. They read the news, and they think, cybersecurity issues are on the rise. Equifax has a lot of personal data. It's the kind of data hackers want. They're going to be hacked. And so they wrote a memo, they wrote a brief, and when the news came out, they put it out of the drawer, and they filled the date, place, the details from the article, and they filed $30 billion in 2 hours. Now, I want you to think about this. What makes you think there is not a lawyer out there that has a file on your company? If they're ready, you should be too. So start writing a memo on what it is you're going to be doing to tackle the issue, have it in your drawer, because God forbid you get a phone call, and it's always on a Friday afternoon, when a lawyer or a journalist calls you and say, we have a story, we're going to the press in 2 hours, do you have a comment? You don't want to have to think on your feet. You want to be prepared. Have the statement. Once you write it, number three, actually start doing the stuff you put in the statement. I'll give you 2 simple suggestions. That privacy policy is two weeks of work at most for a lawyer. Start with that. That shouldn't really be too hard. Number 2, please start cleaning the cars at least before you sell them. because it's the most blaring example, right? By the time you sell them, there's 5, 6, 10, 15, however many the memory of the car can store, they're all in there. Because you had so many people going through the car, it just accumulates, right? So just be smart, at least start there. And again, if I can help, just let me know. Thank you.